Hi class, I'm going to go over how to create a technical drawing, more specifically a DWG on Inventor. I'm going to use the example part in order to do this. You'll notice a couple things right now, and I'm going to point out some things that are going to create an error for me later on. Right now, my front view is not the view that I would expect to be the front view, but actually this side. That's not right. That's not really what I want. I don't want that to be my right side and this to be my front. I want it to be opposite. So let's see what ends up happening later on. So I'm going to create a new drawing. So I'm going to go to New. I'm going to select DWG. I'm going to open it up. If I look at what the activity requires, it's going to say size A sheet, ANSI A title block with name, part title, project title, scale, and those orthographic views. 4 zones by 4 zones for the border, and include the standard multi-view views on the page. Okay. So size A, well, this is a size D. I can see it says right there, size D. So I need to edit the sheet. So I right click on the browser. I rename the sheet activity 4.2 example. Change the size to size A. Okay. Now I have a new size. Problem is this default border is 2 by 2. That doesn't work for me. So I'm going to delete it. Problem is this title block is way too large, specifically ANSI large, and it's not an ANSI A like I wanted, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Now I'm going to go to my closet, which is my inventory of parts, my drawing resources. I have a border to select, a title block to select, so I'm going to right click, insert drawing border, and make it 4 by 4 zones just the way I asked. Nice. Now I'm not going to insert the ANSI large again, that doesn't make sense. Instead I'm going to insert the ANSI A. And there we go. You'll notice some things already pre-populated, like who drew it, the date I did it, the size, but that's really it. All right, now it's time to insert the drawing and create the multi-view. I insert that, and you'll notice, this created an issue for me. The fact that this was now the front is not good. So in order to change what your front view is, you can actually use the view cube and rotate about and select the best front view. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So even though it started as my right side, I selected it and picked it on the bottom left to designate that view as my front. Now I click OK. This drawing isn't shaded, which I want it to be. So I right click on it and I say Edit View. The hidden lines are removed, which is good for the ISO view, but it's not shaded. I want it to be. If I hold my mouse over it, you'll see that it says shaded. I click OK. All of a sudden, the scale infills. Okay, great. Now it tells me what scale it is. Before I move on to dimensioning, I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and fill in the rest of this ANSI title block. So if you look at your browser, I'm going to close up the drawing resources, and I'm going to specifically focus on this sheet. I look at the ANSI A title block, and if I expand on it, it says field text. I right click on it and I want to edit that field text. I tried typing stuff in here, but it doesn't work. Why? Because this title block is linked to your I properties. So right now, if I change the title, the author, the subject, the project, it's all going to automatically populate there. So before I move any further though, I want to save this. So I'm going to save as. I'm going to save it as activity 4.21 or 4.2 underscore example .dwg. You notice that as soon as I save it, the drawing number self-populates. I go back to the ANSI A, the field text. I edit field text. I hit the I properties. What is it that I wanted to change? I want to change the title. So what's the title? This was activity 4.2 drawing creation. Author, I don't want to be F. Menhibad. I want to be Mr. Menhibad. I'll update that here. Actually, I'll update it in the designer section so it shows up here. And I think I'm good. I click apply, I close it, I click OK, and all of a sudden I have my name, the date I created it, the scale, the size, the drawing number, and then the title of the project. I'm ready for dimensioning. So I go to the annotate tab, and I always start off by clicking the overall width. And I'll stick on the width to start. I'll show you what chain dimensioning looks like. I'm going to create chains, links in a chain. So I'm going to go from that line to that line. That's 1. I'm going to go from this line now to this line, and that's 2. So far, so good. I'm going to go from this line to this line. Again, I'm just creating these links in the chain. You'll notice that all of a sudden this 1 is on that side. I don't like it. I want it to be on the other side. So I hit escape to get out of the dimensioning, and I grab this number 1 and I slide it over to the right, and I line these arrows up. I don't need this last one because I can do math. So 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. 4 minus 4.75 is 0.75. But what I do need is I need the length or the width of this leg, as well as the width of this opening. Do I need this leg? No, because if this is 3.5 and this is 1 plus 2 plus 1, that's 4. So 4 minus 3.5, this is 0.5. I already know that this is 0.75. I'm good on the width. Now it's time to dimension. So this is called chain dimensioning. I'm going to show you guys datum dimensioning on this side related to the height. I'm going to do overall height, and I'm going to put it far away in the shared adjacent view. The reason why these aren't in adjacent views is because this shows where the object is actually happening, where the contour is occurring. I'm going to go ahead and I want to know how far from bottom to top. That's 0.5 away. I want to know from bottom to the top of this. It's 0.75. I want to know from bottom to this. It's 1.5. So I'm doing datum dimensioning because I'm starting from the same point. That's called the datum point, and I'm going to the next step up. So some people would say, well, wouldn't you want this 1.5 to be on this front side? Yeah, actually, I probably would. It's not a big deal that it's not. But yeah, if I'm following the rules, this 1.5 would probably better be off here. But then I'd say, well, then I'd be crossing extension lines with this one, so I can avoid that by putting it over here. All right. They're all in the adjacent views. And I think I got all the heights. No, not quite, actually. Just because I know that this wing is 0.5 up and it looks like the hidden line is at the same height, I don't actually know that this is 0.5. Some folks are going to confuse this 0.5 with this 0.5 and think they're the same, but they're really telling two different pieces of information. So now I'm done with the heights. I can move on to depths. I'll do that over here. And I'll use datum dimensioning. From this top line to here is 0.5. From this top line to here is 2. And I have all the depths. I know this is 0.5. I know this is, what would that be? 1.5. And this is 0.5 over here. All right. Everything looks good. I told you how high it goes. I told you how far left it is. Yep, I got everything. We're good with this. Everything else I can figure out. So I'm ready to go ahead and submit this, and I could always use a snipping tool to go ahead and take a picture of this and insert it into my document. All right, thanks for following along. Make sure yours looks something like this. You could do dimensioning slightly different, but make sure you're capturing all these dimensions as well.